When many of us think of self-care, we don't think about setting boundaries. The word boundary can sound limiting, maybe even a little bit harsh.
Yeah, it can, but the experts say it can actually be a really healthy way to protect your space as a parent. And when you do it right, it can benefit you and everyone that is close to you. Here to help us figure out how to set those boundaries is family and clinical psychologist Dr. Jen Hartstein. So great to have you here on set. And apparently you and Harry go way back, so it's like a little reunion of sorts.
It is a reunion. It is.
I
love this.
Exactly. I love it.
So first, let's talk about the concept of a boundary with your kids. What exactly is it, and why is it so important?
So a boundary is kind of the limit we set when we recognize something that makes us uncomfortable, something that causes unnecessary conflict, and it expresses to other people what we want and what we need from them. And that's a really important thing. Otherwise, people have no idea because they cannot read our minds.
Okay.
How do you go about teaching your kids how to set them?
So the first thing we have to do is model it for them, right? We have to be able to know what our own boundaries are, because very often we're like, we say yes when we mean no, we feel resentful, we kind of overextend, and that gets, our kids are always watching us. So our kids start to learn that maybe that's important.
Send them so many mixed messages.
We do send them mixed messages, it's very true. So we want to be mindful of modeling for them what they should be doing, maybe practicing with them what they want to say to someone, helping them identify what it is that they might want.
What are some actual examples of that when you're talking about young kids setting boundaries and also maybe the teenagers? Because I imagine it's different for both age groups.
It's totally different. We have to kind of be age appropriate. So for younger kids, you might say, if they say, I don't want to hug Harry because he makes me mad, and we want to try and, sorry Harry, we want to try and force them often to hug Harry because Harry's a good family friend.
Right.
We want to say to them, okay, so what can you say to Harry? Can you make a fist bump? Can you do an elbow bang? What can you do? And for older teenagers, teaching them to use their voice and be very clear about what they want. They have the language skills. We want to teach them to use it.
Okay.
And finally, though, my thought is, what's the downside? What if we don't do this?
So there is a big downside, right? Boundaries keep us safe. They help really kind of give us some insulation and protection. So if we don't teach ourselves and other people how to do it, we aren't as safe, we aren't as clear into what we need, we aren't communicating as well as we want, and it can actually really impact our relationships because it can build resentment between us and other people.
This is interesting. So you're really talking about physical boundaries, like, you know, we're getting into the holiday season and everybody's getting together, and sometimes you're not really ready or wanting to, you know, hug Uncle Joe or what have you. But what about like boundaries with time and space and in your own home with the kids against the parents?
Well, I think you need to set, you know, boundaries and rules, right? They overlap. And so what are they? And make them clear, talk about them often, make sure that everybody understands them. Maybe they have a little bit of flexibility. It's kind of like a bowling alley with some bumpers. Maybe there's a little bit of room, but we want to make sure they stay in the lane. And then kind of talk about at each age, how do we need to change those boundaries? What you do for a 3-year-old is going to be different than what you do for a 13-year-old. So being able to have that.
You feel funny that you're still talking about boundaries.
No, you feel funny that we're still talking about boundaries because it's just one of those things we're going to keep doing because we still don't do them well. That's the problem.
I would say that's so true. It actually takes practice. It takes discipline.
I'm feeling good about our boundaries.
We have great boundaries. Yeah, we're solid. We're good.
Harry, you have great boundaries with everybody.
Thank you so much. Clinical and family psychologist Dr. Jen Hartstein, good to see you again. Such helpful advice, especially this time of year.
Yes, thank you so much. We'll make sure Harry is here for the next time that you come back.
Okay, cool.